We're back to our final, well, not our final item, but our workshop item, the Charter Review Committee report. And so I welcome you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for presenting. So please, I'll turn it over to you. Did you have any opening remarks, Jennifer?
On the Charter Review?
On the Charter Review. No, I mean, I think the report is a really nice summary. They met several times. Oh, thank you, sorry. They met several times. I think it was approximately 6 times. It was a very active committee. They were very thoughtful, spent time, came prepared to those meetings, and really were discussing the details of every single article of the Charter. And so offered to you at this time is their report and the sections they identified where there was a proposed revision, and then it actually includes what that revision is. Some of them, you know, if there's any issue with identifying them because some of them were more grammatical, like taking out commas and things, I'm happy to kind of point you to the proper place on the page if necessary.
Sure.
And with that,
Okay. Eric, Pat?
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Manager Bramley. So as you know, on January 12, 2023, the Commission voted to establish a Charter Review Committee per Section 602 of the City Charter, and then later appointed the volunteer members of that committee. These residents are Victoria Butler, Christopher Crampert, Rhonda Neal, Patricia Morea, Mike Ray, Rob Detro, and myself. Regrettably, our committee chair, Rob Detro, had to resign before the final meeting due to personal scheduling conflicts. Our committee met 6 times over 6 months. Meetings were open to the public and advertised by the city on its websites and various social media outlets to encourage other residents to give their thoughts and opinions during the review. We did have a few residents attend the meetings, and during the meeting process, guests were encouraged to share their thoughts and recommendations at the beginning of each meeting, and were invited to remain and listen to the committee's discussion. After studying the charter and comparing the topics to other municipalities' charters, the committee thoroughly discussed each item and agreed by vote, some by majority and many unanimously, to recommend several items for revision consideration. Many of the items were merely grammatical in nature or for improved clarity. The committee agreed upon 10 proposed revisions to 13 sections. At the pleasure of the Commission, I can read them all in detail, or I can read the summary heading if you like.
Summary heading is probably good.
Very good.
And just, you know, any general comments you want to give as to why.
Sure. All right, the first one is proposed revision. Change the order of Section 102 to 103 and renumber accordingly to Section 102. And construction and Section 103, acquisition and disposal of property in eminent domain. What we're basically saying there is we just wanted to reorder how those were listed.
Okay. Any questions on that, guys? Okay.
Pat, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Not at all. Okay. Number 2, the proposed revision is add an introductory paragraph to Article 3, City Commission, before Section 3.01.
All right, anybody have any questions on that? You saw what they added? Okay.
All right, very good. Number 3, change any reference to he, change it to he or she, and any reference to his or her. You know, recognition of equality amongst genders. Looking at the faces across the dais, I think you'd understand that I think it's time. Any questions?
Good.
All right. Section.
You know, do I have to say his, her, or them?
I don't think so. I think you can just.
Well, them being a non-binary term in today's world.
So I just
Did you guys discuss
want to
that?
be clear. The committee agreed on his or her to recognize that we have openings of his or her. It didn't go into that area.
Gotcha. I'm just saying, we've done a lot in our inclusivity language.
So you certainly could. You could follow the recommendation of the committee, or you could adjust it even further. One of the other items that you have is within your code of ordinances, you have a section on interpretation where you identify, I think that every time there's a masculine used, it's to be interpreted as a masculine and feminine. So you could also address it there as well, without having to go through a full charter change, and just identifying how you're interpreting.
And the only reason I'm saying this is because we're making a charter change already. I wouldn't have said it otherwise, but since
Sure.
we're making the change,
And the change proposed, just so you know, only affected a couple of sections, because everywhere else you already had it designated that way, so it was a consistency matter.
oh, I see. So then if we add the them,
You'd be
it's going to
changing
be
it
changing.
throughout the
Okay,
entire charter.
never mind. Just thought I should bring it up.
Thank you. The fourth proposal is to change the wording "shall cease" to "ceases." And that's in section 401. It is the third paragraph at the end. Questions? The fifth proposed revision is to delete the comma after "shall." And that is in section 406, first sentence in that paragraph. The sixth proposed revision, eliminate the third paragraph by putting the sentence at the end of the second paragraph and the second sentence at the beginning of the fourth paragraph. The point of this was just to consolidate the language. The language is a bit repetitive, and so the committee agreed that this would clarify and help make the language more concise without altering the intent of the section.
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
All right, and the seventh proposed revision, change any reference to voters to electors and add an apostrophe after candidates. What the intent was here was we kept alternating throughout the charter between voters and electors, and we're saying just make it, whatever it is, decide on that word and use it all the way through. And the apostrophe kind of goes without saying.
I'm fine with that. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but why'd you go with electors versus voters? Just curious. Is there a legal significance to one or the other, or?
What the committee discussed was in section 5.01 of your charter, you actually have electors, and you provide a definition of that. So I
Okay.
think they were just trying to use that consistently throughout.
Very good.
Makes sense to me.
Impressed. Okay, good.
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Section 8, change any reference, again, it's the same thing, voters
Yeah.
to electors. And there was a separate section, 506, where we included this.
Okay.
The same again in
For
section
number
9.
nine,
Throughout, we're trying to keep that verbiage, voters to electors.
Okay.
And the 10th and final proposal is, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah,
Change,
You don't have to read all that. We can see it. It's a
All
bunch
right.
of, it's grammatical.
it is grammatical.
It's all grammatical. That's gonna, how in the heck do you put that on a?
That was discussed.
I'm sure Jennifer's gonna find a reasonable way
Yes.
to put that on the ballot, because I didn't even want you to read that, because it's so complicated. I had to read it like 3 or 4 times.
In all honesty, not only was that challenge discussed, but also the potential cost with, adding these to a ballot and changing them. But
But it already had the elector stuff, so you might as well make the whole sentence right. Yeah, I totally get that.
the committee worked hard, and we all agree. So the committee would like to thank you, the commission, for the opportunity to do this, and really thank the staff, Rebecca, Michelle, and Jennifer, for your support. Honestly, we couldn't have done it without you. So you're appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Obviously, I'll let them have their comments, but we thank you for all the work that you all did. We appreciate that. Vice Mayor, any final comments, or?
No, I really appreciate you going through this. I know we just sit here and listen, but we've all read these, of course,
Yeah.
as you know. And the group was just a fantastic group, so there was just, thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just to thank Eric, thank the entire committee for going through this. I know it can be tedious, but it is valuable information for us, even if we just acknowledge. So thank you very much for your efforts.
Commissioner?
I'm just going to repeat, thank you. Talk about rock star committee. And I know you guys are very dedicated and working at it, and just appreciate it. Appreciate you sitting here all day, so thanks to you guys.
I should have moved you guys up, and I apologize. Today was like a Monday to me, and I didn't even put my jewelry on today. I mean, that's how discombobulated I was. I put my trash out, and my trash isn't coming. So, I mean, it's just been one of those days for me. Usually, if I have residents sitting in there, I move their item up, because I don't worry about contractor people, they're paid to be here. So, my apologies for that.
Rob just said,
No,
it's Monday? It's not Monday?
Rebecca and
Not
Michelle are so good, we already knew that was going to happen. We were well prepared.
Rob?
Yeah, I just thank you. And I think there's another aspect of this that we need to recognize, and that's just, people like you standing up and really embarking upon a civic responsibility to this community. And this is such an integral part, and it shouldn't be ever minimized, and we're better for it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I agree with all of that. I just thought, anything you want to share that you did hear from the public, we should be aware of. I know there are minutes attached, but, anything you want to, if you don't want to delve into it, that it's not worth delving into, that's fine. I just thought I'd give you the opportunity.
We didn't hear a lot of commentary from the public. They listened.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
They didn't really engage.
Because the last one was pretty contentious.
Yes, it was.
And I think both of you were there for it.
Yes.
So it was different this time around.
Beyond that, we also remained in contact with Rebecca to see if we were getting emails or any type of electronic communications for those that couldn't be there. And to my knowledge, none were received.
So you felt like there was it was a lot different this time than last. That's why I'm asking, because last time it was really
Yeah.
heavy.
Nope,
Okay.
it was pretty quiet.
Well, thank you, guys. We appreciate that. I would like to make sure that we, on a Thursday evening, quick presentation to do a thank you to the entire committee and invite them here. Even Rob Detro, even though he had to resign. But he did work on the group, so
You did.
would love to have you all back for a small little reception or, thank you. All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate
you.
it.